have a situation in which Thebes, the city that was traditionally celebrated in Egyptian hymns, had in fact become a threat to the king, to the most important inhabitant of this city.
Everything in Thebes was packed up. Akhenaton and his entire government, officials, scribes, soldiers and artisans, would move to the new desert site. They were leaving behind their houses and their carefully prepared tombs. They were leaving behind the most cosmopolitan city in Egypt, built by Akhenaton's father.
I don't think you would really have had any choice in the matter. If Akhenaton decides he wants to go there, everybody goes. The whole court would have had to get up and go there, and all the hangers-on, everybody who would be part of court life would have had to get up and move to Amarna.
Tens of thousands set out for Amarna. Ahead lay a 200-mile journey up the Nile to a new life in the new city, all part of Akhenaton's great experiment. The new capital city had been built on an unprecedented scale. It was 8 miles long and 3 miles wide. 4 huge palaces rose from the desert floor, surrounded by ornamental lakes and gardens. And dominating the city was the great temple of the Aten, a temple open to the sun, surrounded by wide roads and open spaces.
To a certain degree, Amarna was conceived very much like an American city, was conceived and planned in a way that would account for openness and freedom, we could call it.
The whole city was one great stage on which Pharaoh could demonstrate his devotion to the Aten. With him at the head of these processions, his subjects could see the woman who had helped him realize his vision, one of the most remarkable women of the ancient world. But her face would not be seen again until the beginning of the 20th century. In the winter of 1912, a German archaeologist, Ludwig Burckhardt, came to excavate at Amarna.
On December 6th, just before the lunch break, I was called by an urgent note from Professor Renke, who was supervising the excavations. There, at about knee-height in front of us, a flesh-colored neck appeared.
As his workmen brushed the sand away, Burckhardt began to see a stone face looking back at him. The most beautiful he had ever seen. It was the face of a queen, whose name meant, "A beautiful woman has come." Nefertiti. Stunned, that evening Burckhardt wrote just one line in his diary.
Description is useless. See for yourself.
In real life, Nefertiti was as remarkable as her statue. Like her mother-in-law, Queen T, Nefertiti played a prominent role in public life. She and Akhenaton stood together at the head of the new regime.
If you look at the role Nefertiti plays in the Amarna period, it is almost as important as that of Akhenaton. So she's there, present all the time. She's even shown in some of the reliefs smiting the enemy, as a pharaoh is always shown. So Nefertiti is not just a beautiful woman, she's a very, very important element in this new and incredible experiment.
Nefertiti is also the only Egyptian queen intimately described by her husband. Verses of love and devotion over 3,000 years old.
She stands out in the palace, fair-faced and beautiful. At the sound of her voice, rejoicing breaks out. Her appearance fills the king with pleasure. She is the chief queen, the king's beloved, the mistress of two lands, Nefertiti.
Nefertiti was not the only woman in Akhenaton's life. In the northern apartments of the palace, Nefertiti brought up their 6 daughters. In the few surviving reliefs, we see the princesses, 6 little girls growing up in the city of the sun, well loved by their father and mother. No other royal family in the ancient world seems so human, so real. Stele even show Akhenaton and his wife playing with their children. A brief moment in time captured 3,300 years ago.
The representations of this divine family are unique. Never before do you see the king or the queen with their children climbing all over them, or the king kissing his child. These are family situations which we would recognize now as very human, and they appear at this time.
Freed from the constraints of the old order, life in Amarna was good, at least for now. This success was celebrated in a new type of hymn, which the king himself claimed to have written. The greatest of these hymns is carved in a tomb above the city, a hymn so powerful that phrases from it found their way into the Bible. In it, Akhenaton praised the sun as the creator of the natural world, plants, animals, Egyptians, even foreigners.
When you cast your rays, the herds are happy in their pasture. Trees and plants grow green. All the flocks gambol and all the birds come to life because you have risen for them. Even the fish in the rivers leap towards your face. You created the earth to please you. People, cattle and flocks, everything which walks on land or takes off and flies using wings.
The general message of the great hymn to the Aten in Amarna is that life comes from the sun god, and life is distributed equally over the earth, equally among nations, equally among people, equally among animals.
Egypt appeared to have accepted